Hello, and thank you so much for tuning into my podcast. My name is Kara, and I'm a holistic health practitioner for both people and pets. After working for years in the conventional medicine field, I realized that while our lifespans may be getting longer, our health spans are rapidly shrinking. And when it comes to our pets, both their length and quality of life are decreasing. When I turned to functional medicine and a more holistic approach to health, I saw dramatic improvements for my pets, myself, and my patients. Join me each week as I merge natural health for people and pets by focusing on the root cause of disease and applying raw, real remedies that you can use to improve overall wellness for every member of your family, including the furry ones. Hello, welcome to the first episode of Season 2 of Raw Remedies, natural health for people and pets. The goal of Season 2 is to bring you content and education that applies to the entire household, as well as actionable takeaways that you can apply to the entire family. I'm beyond honored to announce that my first guest for Season 2 is Sean Cahill from Tvati. Sean embodies a unique blend of commitment, discipline, resilience, and leadership, shaped by his early career as a professional athlete. His ability to perform under pressure, build strong relationships, and adapt quickly to new challenges has been a consistent hallmark of his journey from sports to the corporate world. Today, Sean is the co-founder of Tvati, a company dedicated to pioneering plant-based treatments rooted in traditional Cook Islands knowledge. In this role, he combines his commercial acumen with a deep respect for cultural integrity and innovation. Through strategic partnerships and forward-thinking leadership, Sean continues to drive Tvati's mission of bridging science, tradition, and global markets. Today's episode is very much ancient healing meets modern science, and I am so grateful that you're here listening, learning, and expanding your holistic health toolkit. So, without further ado, let's dive in. All right, everybody, and we are back with Sean Cahill from Tvati, and this is going to be an amazing show. I can't wait to learn more about this company and their product and the ancestry. And I think that you're going to find this really amazing and really exciting for your own family. So, Sean, welcome.
Thank you. It's really nice to be on your podcast today. I'm super excited.
I have been eagerly awaiting this all week. So I think a great way to start would be to just have you tell us a little bit about yourself, about the Cook Islands, and why you ended up partnering with Dr. Matheson to found Tvati.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, so I'm one of the co-founders of Tvati, a product that comes from the Cook Islands, but a bit of background about myself. My background is professional sports in soccer. I was lucky enough to leave Australia, where I was born and bred, to then move over to the UK to play soccer. And post football career, soccer as we call it, or you guys call it in America, I moved into sales and marketing and then the financial services system. But in regards to Tvati, the whole journey has been very organic, natural. It's a product that where my background is Samoan. My mum's from Samoa. My father's Irish. But Tvati is grown in the Cook Islands. It's harvested, and Tvati comes from a tree called the hibiscus tree or the old tree. Mm-hmm. And essentially, it's bark that comes off the tree, which we use ethanol to extract out the oil, and then we standardize the process. But to harvest the product, we use our locals. They harvest it like our ancestors did, and our ancestors have been using this for thousands of years to treat bone, soft tissue injuries back then. So Dr. Matheson, our founder and a very, very dear friend of mine, is born and bred in the Cook Islands, been brought up on treatments of different plants in the Cook Islands, being a professional athlete, playing rugby, soccer for the Cook Islands internationally. Very talented human being, and being awarded a scholarship to come to Australia and become a doctor. And during that period, he met the head of the UNSW labs, which is a university here in Australia, and the professor there happens to be the number one professor on the planet in regards to musculoskeletal development research. So this gentleman's name is Bill Walsh, from America, for his Brown University. And so when I say Dr. Matheson, we refer to him as Cookie. And we refer to him as Cookie because he's a Cook Islander. And in
Yeah.
Polynesian culture, they refer to Samoans as coconuts, and then we refer to Cook Islanders as cookie. So,
That's funny.
again, as I said, this is a product that's been around our culture for thousands of years.
Yeah.
The ingredients is grown from the hibiscus bark, but Cookie being awarded a scholarship to come to Australia and be able to meet Bill Walsh, he said, well, we're doing all these studies in your labs with bone morphogenics and a whole heap of other things. He goes, in the Cook Islands, we use plants to heal. So when our professional athletes get injured, because Polynesians play professional sport all over the world, they
Yeah.
typically fly back to the Cook Islands to get traditional Maori treatment. And there was one of his ex-teammates had a foot injury, which essentially was going to retire him. He flew back to the Cook
Mm.
Islands, had the treatment, and then within 12 months, he was playing soccer again. And this is where doctors said that he'll never be able to walk again properly, run again, let alone even play sport. And that's where Cookie said to Bill Walsh at UNSW Labs here in Australia, give me an opportunity to show you what this is and prove it via a study. And 7 years later, they proved that applying a product topically, um, you know, absorbed into the blood and it
Yeah.
grew bone, soft tissue, and cartilage. Naturally. So Tavati is a
Wow.
product of two ingredients: a hibiscus bark, which we grow in the Cook Islands. Our locals harvest the product for us. So local churches, soccer teams, cricket teams, rugby teams. And then we standardize the process of that, and then it's mixed with organic coconut oil. So 7 years
Yeah.
later, after Cookie going to university to become a doctor, not only did he become a doctor, but he also researched our traditional medicine to say, well, this is an oil of two ingredients, which grows bone, soft tissue, and cartilage, as our ancestors intended. An amazing human being, our founder, a man of not many words, and that's typically why I get onto podcasts and why I wear a hat unemployable, because for the journey that we've been on, you have to be unemployable to stick to the narrative, to stick to the truth, to stick to what we know. And,
Yeah.
I'm unapologetic about our journey and what we do, because Tavati was a product that was, from our traditional word, te varoahu ati, too hard for myself to say, let alone anyone else to say. And that's where Tavati was born.
Yeah.
And we started in the human space, and that's where Tavati started. We treat today, and from 2019, we've been treating professional athletes around the world, uh, and
Wow.
assisting athletes in recovery from acute injuries. So assisting them in recovering faster,
Yeah.
but naturally.
And that's really important too, because I myself am not an athlete. However, my husband certainly is. And he is currently embarking on trying ice hockey,
Oh,
which he's
wow.
never done before. He's done soccer, he's done skiing, and he just decided, I'm going to play ice hockey now. But I know just from he taught me how to ski and I've watched him do soccer and stuff. And also just my many years in medicine, I have seen a sports injury end a career. I've seen a sports injury lead to chronic pain, addiction to prescription pain medication. I mean, I've seen, you name it, I've seen it all here in America. And I'm sure this happens in other countries as well. But we definitely have a big crisis here, and we talk about it all the time, right? The opioid epidemic. We talk about how people, die of overdoses, how people can become addicted to these simply because they're in so much pain that they don't think that there's another option and there's nothing else for them to take. And it frustrates me that we've really pulled away from the original medicine, which is herbal medicine, homeopathy, chiropractic care, acupuncture. These were things that have been around for centuries, but we consider them alternative now, right? Oh, you practice alternative medicine. That really frustrates me.
It does.
And I've been so blessed to recently start a new job where I'm able to bring some functional and integrative aspects into the clinic and get people started on something herbal and get people started on a full spectrum hemp extract or some ashwagandha and be able to use it all together. But to learn about something like this ancestral remedy that's been around for so long. And just think about the dominoes that had to fall into place, right? For him to come from the Cook Islands, to have, been in sports and maybe even used this on himself or seen it used on teammates or family or friends, and then get that scholarship, go to Australia and happen to work with this person that's so well known and well researched and say, let's let's partner the ancestry with the science and make something absolutely amazing. So just the possibilities of this. And I mean, it sounds like it's been used in human medicine for many years. I wish I had known about it. I
Yeah.
had not heard about it until,
Well,
you came into the animal space.
absolutely. And the whole thing for us was having a background in professional sport. It was,
Yeah.
look, we've had our fair share of injuries and all those types of stuff. And
Yeah.
look, we know what we had to use to be able to recover and the long
Yeah.
term effects of that as a human. And
Hmm.
that's where, working with professional athletes, being able to, me, myself, just educate because, look, in the professional sports space, if you're not playing, you're losing money because you're not in front of, you're not in the roster. If you're coming up to a negotiation in your contract, what does that mean for you? So the
Hmm.
thing for me was I know that athletes take unnecessary, they take risks. And my biggest thing for me was to be able to go out and educate because I worked directly with the chief scientist of Asada. I worked directly with the chief scientist of WADA to show them what we had in the studies. And
Yeah.
then we went a step further and tested Tvati in the human space to show it was a non-banned substance. It was something that they could either use from the acute phase or they could use as prevention while they play. So
Mm.
working with athletes is sort of, was the first part, but then falling into the animal space, which, 6 years later, we had no idea we'd now have our company set up in the US, be going to Super Zoo, and honestly, the feedback and the level of partnership we have across there since August, oh sorry, was it August, is
August. Yeah.
insane,
Yeah.
is absolutely insane. And like, okay, as you said, we were in emerging brands, and at the start, all the other vendors hated us because we were the busiest stand. But at the end of it, I was literally pulling everyone from our stand over to their stand to say, hey, these are our friends from such and such, Happy Dookies,
Hmm.
and these are our friends from such and such. Because, look, Tvati is a product that's 100% natural. Tvati is a product that we've never advertised in 6 years, and Tvati has grown
Yeah.
organically through word of mouth, through community. And,
Yeah.
and, and community is what we are as a culture.
Yeah.
So who I am as a person was, hey, okay, you've heard about our product, done now. My job's done, but come and meet these other vendors who I've sat and spoken to during these last 3 days and see what they do because we can sit and talk about what Tvati is and does, but again, for me, it's about sharing, the truths of how companies and brands can work together to add value to our end users, which is our pet parents.
Yeah. Yep. And we're all, I mean, this space, we're all here with each other. We're all here for each other. At the end of the day, we should always be building each other up. And, the backbone, the foundation, it's not built on just one person, one company, one product, right? It's all of us together as one. So I love that. I'm so sad that I missed you guys. I can't believe I didn't go over to that section this year, but that's okay because we're connecting now.
Absolutely.
So So you mentioned, and I think that this is a good correlation to point out. So you mentioned the way Tvati gets applied is topically, so on the skin. And I just want to point out to people who are listening, whether you're a pet parent, a human parent, or you're just using something for yourself, please keep in mind when you put something on topically, it is still systemically absorbed. So antibacterial creams, steroid creams, things that are creams, these don't just stay in that one section of the skin. They do get absorbed systemically. I think a lot of people forget that that's the case, or they get told, oh, just use the cream. It's fine. It's fine. Um,
in this case, it's good that that happens because it sounds to me, and I understand that we don't understand, we don't quite know the exact mechanism of how Tvati works once it
Absolutely.
enters the body. But I understand that you put it on topically and it helps, it goes to the site of injury to help
Well,
begin the healing
yeah,
process.
and what you're going to get from me is a lot of honesty, because
Yeah.
working with humans is phenomenal,
Hmm.
but to be honest, I absolutely hate it, because when we think about working with pets, there's
Yeah.
no such thing as placebo.
Yes.
And this is
Yes.
which has been the greatest thing for us as a business, because the people who are the most skeptical, you know, our customer base was really out of desperation because they tried everything else.
Yeah.
So then they tried Tvati, and so essentially, let's talk about a dog. They put Tvati on the back of the dog's neck.
Hmm.
It absorbs into the animal's bloodstream via the skin, and it
Yeah.
treats the animal systemically.
Yeah.
So having a product that's enabling the assistance with joint and mobility, um, topically, there was nothing like that in the market before we came to the market in regards to what we do as a business. Within a very, very short period of time, I'd be get phone calls and say, "Hey, I know that this product's from Tahiti," and I'd sort of roll my eyes. But I know you're saying that this product is only 2 ingredients, but my dog's weight bearing. My dog's actually walking up the stairs. And I'm like,
Hmm.
is that a good thing or a bad thing? And they're like, oh, no, it's fantastic. Great. But it hasn't been able to do that before. And I don't know how it's working systemically. And I'm like, but is it working? Yes, we'll keep on
Yeah.
using the product. And again, that's how we've grown. So yes, Tavati is an oil of 2 ingredients: hibiscus bark,
Yeah.
organic coconut oil. We can't say that the hibiscus is organic, even though in the Cook Islands we're not allowed to have pesticides, but we just say it grows wild.
Yeah.
Our organic coconut oil is sourced from the States, which has a piece of paper that says it's organic with a tick. So okay, so apparently we can call it
Yeah.
organic. But again, yes, it's absorbed in through the skin. It identifies markers and it assists with the joint and mobility with the animals.
Yeah. So if you put it, I'm just curious if you know this. You mentioned the back of the neck for dogs. If you put it topically over the area of injury, have you noticed that that makes any difference at all? Let's say it's a torn ligament in the leg. Notice any
Well,
difference if you put it on the leg versus put it on the back of the neck?
yes, we have, because we've got people who don't believe that you apply a product to the neck and it absorbs in, and
Uh-huh.
everyone's different. So we say how to best apply the product, but people always do it the best way that they think. Because look, everyone's an expert,
Mhm.
right? So we've had dogs with wrist injuries, um, uh, tendon issues, and all the rest of it, and they've still recovered exactly how we intended. Um,
Yeah.
but the whole reason we went through the process of saying apply the product to the animal's neck was merely because so it didn't lick it off.
Lick it off.
And that's
Yeah.
what refers back to. So Cookie going to UNSW and then proving the science works, he published a PhD out of UNSW in Sydney, Australia. And the co-publisher,
Mm.
which is a very, very proud moment for us, was Professor Bill Walsh. To
Yeah.
have him as the co-publisher, as the number one musculoskeletal professor on the planet, to sit over 7 years and prove that this did what it did was phenomenal. So even in a sense where because at the stage Cookie was funding this all himself to find out if it actually had the effect. He cut a 20 mil defect into a rabbit's ulna, and within 1 week of applying Tavati to the rabbit's neck, we had bone growth, brand new bone growth
Wow.
reapplying to the neck. And he was like, okay, so he redid the test 7 times to prove that it worked.
Mhm.
And again, the application was to the neck of the species that we were using at the time to prove that it worked. And it's profound when you think that you can still apply a product to the neck and what it does and what the PhD has been published. And to take it a step further, Tavati is patented in every major country in the world on the fact that the patents are granted on it. It rejuvenates bone and soft tissue. How we come into the American market is it's joint and mobility.
Joint
And I'm
mobility.
very
Okay.
transparent around that because obviously, in each country, the regulatory process is what it is. And we
Yeah.
need to abide by that. And our claim is that Tvati Pet, which we also have Tvati Equine, because we do a significant amount of work in the equine world,
Mm.
is that it's a massage oil. And you simply apply the product to the animal's neck, and then you let it do its work. And it's a 30-day treatment. And actually, this is Tvati Pet. That's the pack.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
comes in a pack format. Essentially, in each pack, you get vials, 30 vials, so it's one a day. You
Okay.
simply break it off, snap the top, and just apply it.
Apply.
And you just
So,
rub it in.
so you mentioned you have Tvati Pet, you have Tvati Equine.
Okay. Yep.
Do you have it for people in America as well? Ah, Tvati Traditional.
So Tvati Traditional is our hero, and that's where
Okay.
everything started. And so that's the whole thing. Everything started from Tvati. That's why we call it Tvati Traditional. And
Yeah.
that's where we fell into the pet space, because the vets we worked with were like, hey, we really see this working. Can you please create a product for dogs? Can you please create a product for our horse market? And
Yeah.
so we did. And the demand has grown. And where there's demand and people wanting to purchase it, we'll keep on sustainably harvesting it and manufacturing it. So
That's
as I said,
amazing.
the product, the raw ingredients in regards to hibiscus is grown and will be grown forever and a day in the Cook Islands. We
Yeah.
then send the raw ingredients to our co-packer, which is in Florida, and now everything is manufactured and put together in Florida now, and which is another proud moment for us, because we were doing everything out of the Cook Islands, which trying to do anything in a small country is very, very hard logistically. And
Yeah.
as we've grown over the last 6 years, we've now been able to invest into bringing the business over to America, and really doubling down to invest into educating and having ourselves on amazing podcasts like Raw Remedies to be able to share that story with the audiences out there.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I do think my podcast is awesome. But so, all right. So you have the human product, which I will definitely be trying. You mentioned it comes with 30 vials, 1 vial a day for application. So
Correct.
how long should one use the Tvati before they would expect to see a result?
That's a great question. So we typically say the first pack use every day for 30 days because, look, as we know at the animal market or the human market, each case is totally different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the animal space, we've had people call us within 5 days
Wow.
and say, hey, man, again, and the reason I refer back to Tahiti is because they think Tahiti is Tvati. And I'm like, hey, man, I wish we were in Tahiti, but the product's called Tvati and it's grown in the
Yeah.
Cook Islands. And, and this is what it does. So we
Yeah.
always say for the first month, use it every single day. And essentially that's
Okay.
the loading phase, to be able to get
Okay.
into your system as quickly as possible. Because again,
Okay.
Tvati's been a product purely grown out of desperation of our customers.
Yeah.
So the
They
first
drive
month they
that
use it every
need.
single day, and then
Yeah.
they will then stay on Tvati and typically use it 1 to 3 times a week.
Okay. Excellent. So then you can use it. So that would be your prevention, right? So you've done your loading phase. It's attained a steady state in the system because you built that up, and now you're using it more as maintenance, prevention of other injuries, and you could
Bang
use
on.
that lifelong. Or do you recommend a break period? Does it matter?
So we typically have a break period after the first
Okay.
usage. And let's talk about
Okay.
humans first. So humans,
Yeah.
they'll use it every single day for 30 days and go, oh, wow, I can actually get out of bed. But the person
Yeah.
who notices the difference first typically isn't the person that uses it. It's the wife or partner, because they're
Yeah.
not hearing their partner whinge about getting out of bed and they're in pain and they're in this and that. And I'm being totally honest.
I'm laughing, Sean, because I turned 35 on Monday.
Oh, happy birthday.
And thank you. And my husband and I, just a couple of days ago, the day was done. We watched a movie. It was time for bed. We turned off the TV and we both went to get up and we went, and we looked at each other and we went, when did we start groaning when we get off the couch? And we just had to laugh at each other because we're like, well, clearly the couch is just getting closer to the ground because it can't be that we're getting older. I mean, so I have to laugh because you're right. I probably would be the first one to notice, hey, babe, you're not groaning and moaning anymore when you roll out of bed in the morning.
And so this is the thing, and this is why we've grown. And again, we never advertised for 6 years. And the first time we
Yeah.
advertised as a brand is when we went to Super Zoo. Because, like, I'll be honest, our social media is so crap. Because my co-founder, and so Cookie doesn't have social media, never been on social media ever. Our
And he
co-founder
probably
Romeo
has really
keeps
great mental health because of it.
correct. And
Yeah.
my co-founder Romeo and I, we were
Mm.
like, well, to be honest, we're not doing social media because we just want people to, look, 'cause we grown via word of mouth and it grew
Yeah.
organically.
Yeah.
And so everyone said, oh, you have to have a social media. And I'm like, oh, far out. Here we go down this world of social media and all this bull crap. So people go, but your social media is so bad. And I'm like, well, we sell the product every day of the week, and that's the right market that we need as social proof. So
Yeah.
now, as we're trying to educate into a new market, it's like, well, okay, we need to do social media, but more so just educate. We're not saying you need to buy the product or this. All we're saying is this is what it is. This is the background of the product. This is where we started.
Yeah.
And this is what it can potentially do for you or your animal. And it's sort of why now, to be honest, we now have all three brands under one website.
Excellent. Yeah.
So
Make
if
one
anyone
central
went to
hub.
Tvati.com or Tvati Equine or Tvati Pet, it all comes under one website now, because I was like, you know what? Bugger this. I said, we want to be known as the well-being partner of families, including our pets. Because when I talk about families, I've got a farm. I've got cattle, I have donkeys, I have dogs, and all my animals get Tvati, because if I'm getting it, so are my animals.
Yeah.
So well-being to us is one, not pets and us. We are one.
Yeah. Yes.
And
And that's such a foundational element in my house and in my business because my pets brought me here, and now I take this and I bring it to other people. I bring it to my patients, I bring it to my pet parents, and at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do for people, I don't want to just extend their lifespan. I want to improve their health span, because how you feel for the time that you're alive, in my opinion, is far more important than the number of years that you exist.
yeah,
And I hate seeing these dogs with crippling arthritis and, people with chronic pain. And if I can implement additional modalities that will help them feel better so that they can have quality of life, that quality to me is so much more important than simply quantity. So,
100%. And getting back to your
yeah.
original question, like, we don't know how Tvati works. We don't know the mode of
Yeah.
action.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because people go, oh, but if you guys knew the mode of action, then you guys would be worth an absolute fortune. But this has never been about money.
Mm.
This has been more so for us, because in my culture, there was never such a thing as, oh, here's a product for a dog or an animal, and here's a product for a human. Like, my grandparents would go to their plantation and go, well, oh, we've got a bone issue. If you've got a headache, well, we go into our plantation, we gather the plants, we mix it in coconut oil, and you rub it on your skin. And that's why when we say that we're going to be, and we are, the well-being partner of families, full stop. That's what we are. Because again, the reason why I love working with animals is because no placebo. And when you've
Yeah.
used a product and that we've educated that there's only 2 ingredients, and they've gone, you know what, bugger it, I'm going to try this. And they come back to us, and I've got emails after emails and text messages and social media messages where
Yeah.
they're going, thank you. That's what makes this whole journey worth it, because they then
Yeah.
go out, and the people that I don't like talking to become our biggest advocates.
Yeah.
And again,
From the
6
biggest
years.
critic to the biggest advocate.
Absolutely. And 6 years we've
Yeah.
been doing this, and I'll be honest, I've told that many people to go jump, because I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to apologize for who we are and what we do and how we do it.
Yeah.
And all I'm here to do as a custodian of Tvati, and as part of, my ancestors' medicine that they've passed down to me now, I'm just here to educate, because whether you like it or not, I'm going to plant the seed in the back of your head and you're going to think about it. And when you've used everything and you've gone to your cupboard and you open that cupboard up and there's a shit ton of products in there that you've spent an absolute a fortune on, you tell me how much money you've spent on that cupboard.
Yeah.
And then
We
you
we
come
joke
to
about
us.
that,
Yeah, and you
the
come to us
supplement
and you go, you know
graveyard.
what, I'm desperate, so bugger it, I'm going to use it. And then they're like, oh my goodness, my dog's actually now chirping up. Now my dog's not sitting down. It takes him 5 hours to sit down. He's sitting down and he looks like his mobility is coming a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, so again, we launched 13th of June officially in the US. And I'm proud to say that we've got some amazing retail partners come on board. Independent retail partners, by the way, not these big conglomerates. We're not interested in working with the big, huge online brands. It's not
Yeah.
what we want to do. We're here to work with the independent retailers that actually take the time to educate, to show their customers that they can have a brand that there is no competitor, that's a topical, that's 100% natural.
Wow. So, all right. You mentioned several times acute injuries. You talked about sports injuries, you talked about bony injuries. What about a chronic injury or a, quote, healed injury? What about, a torn ligament that healed but you never had surgery on? What about the people with chronic neck pain? The dog who had their meniscus surgery but they still limp. Is there any efficacy for this?
Yes. Um,
Okay.
so we also work in an industry where performance in animals is humongous, and performance in animals,
Mhm.
they have acute injuries and all the rest of it. And again, we've fallen
Yeah.
into these markets by default. Now, for our company as a whole, look, we don't endorse a lot of racing and all the rest of it, but what we do endorse is well-being.
Yeah.
So these animals will break down from hock injuries, from tendon injuries, from fetlock injuries, from shin soreness to kissing spine, etc.
Yeah.
These animals, once from the acute phase, who have, say, snapped a tendon,
Uh-huh.
the product has been applied to the withers or to the mane of the horse or the back of the dog's neck. Within 6 to 8 weeks, they've gone back to the vet, and typically with a tendon injury, the vet will run the hand over the tendon where there's been sewn up.
Uh-huh.
They can't find where the animal's been sewn up. They know where they
Huh.
sewn up the injury, but then when they go do an MRI on the horse again or an X-ray, there's zero scar tissue,
Huh.
zero. And again, with acute fractures, so let's say in a horse or dog's hock, they can't see where the fractures were. It had completely healed.
Wow.
And again, I'm not
Wow.
shitting you when I say this, because again, it's why our brand has grown over 6 years, and why,
Yeah.
from our vet's perspective, our repeat purchase rate is 96%. And this is where we talk about from the acute phase that, yeah, we can help you recover. That's no problem. But we can also help in assistance of prevention. And that's why we
Yeah.
created Tvati Pet, because our market is the aging dog population.
Yeah.
The feedback from our trainers, because when you think about Tvati is applied with your hand.
Uh-huh.
So when you're applying Tvati to the animal's neck every single day, you're also being treated yourself because it's absorbing it through
Yourself.
your
Yeah.
hand. But so when
Yeah.
we say this to people, they're like, it's like the eureka moment, but you're still applying it with your hand. And talking as Cookie would talk, it's a transdermal treatment which treats you
Uh-huh.
systemically. So essentially being a
Yeah.
topical treatment which treats you overall. And that's where we become, and I always say, the well-being partner, because our trainers have come back and said, hey, Sean, I've got osteoporosis, or I've got chronic arthritis in my hands and my back. I'm like, okay, I'm really sorry to hear that. But I'm in no more pain. I'm in no pain. Now, this feedback is total anecdotal, right?
Yeah.
From our trainers and all the rest of it. So we become the well-being partner already of our
Yeah.
trainers of those sort of things. And that's why we've now, as I said, merged everything under one, Tvati.com. Our customers can go to one place to get their well-being for their family.
That's amazing. I would love to run my own experiment in my clinic with some of the patients that I get come in with arthritis and just see what their like subjective changes, you know?
Yeah,
Like
and
the
again,
scientist in me is like the wheels are spinning.
well, look, I just spent literally 2.5 hours just before you and I got on the phone with
Yeah.
one of the number one lecturers across the US of her experience that we met at Super Zoo, and she's sort of going, how hasn't this grown faster? How isn't this here?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we're doing it our way. We're doing it
Yeah.
slowly. We're doing it the way our ancestors intended, because again, education, education, education is what everyone's
Right.
looking for. And
Yeah.
look, for me to go to play soccer in Europe, I left school halfway to year 8, and now I'm an educator giving education as the simplest form possible. Not like a doctor, because if I was to get cookie on this thing, a lot of the stuff would go straight over your head because it still goes over my head.
Mhm.
So I'm here to try and give it out as the best way I know as part of my
Yeah.
education, but also my real story.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think that being authentic and true to yourself is the best way to organically grow a business, because if you do it the other way, it becomes something that I think you don't find joy in anymore.
Well,
And that's obviously not what you guys are about. So
yeah,
I love
and look,
that.
the laughing sort of joke within Tvati is that I'm head of HR. So when people want to be educated, I educate my way. But then when people, you know, um, are just dicks, to be honest, I just cut them straight out, because we don't have time to muck
Yeah.
around with idiots.
Yep.
Again, authenticity is everything, because
Yeah.
look, my grandparents are dead, God bless their souls, but I know if I represented my culture the wrong way, I believe they'd come down and give me a slap across their head from heaven, So we're a holistic business that heals
Yeah.
holistically, that heals naturally, that
Yeah.
everything that we talk about in our world, everything's created from plants.
Yeah.
Everything has come from the earth, and everything for us will keep on coming from the earth, and we'll keep on doing it sustainably. And our partners are the Kotonui, which are traditional elders in the Cook Islands who are shareholders of our business, because we've now proudly reintegrated Tvati traditional back into our
Yeah.
hospital system in the Cook Islands now, and
Oh my
we give it to,
gosh.
and we give it to them for free. We don't
That's
charge our
amazing.
people for Tvati, because why are we going to charge our people for a product that comes from our country?
Yeah.
So
That sounds fantastic.
the goal for us, to be honest, is to be able to go to countries to help people who can't afford to be injured, so they can't put food on the table, who can't afford
Yes.
for their animals to be injured because then they can't make money to put food on the table.
Yep.
And this is a real thing for us, because, the American market allows us, which we're very grateful to come and educate and to come and invest into Tvati. Because when you buy Tvati, you're investing into us, you're investing into the sustainability of how we will do and harvest and manufacture Tvati forever.
It's rooted in culture and ancestry and tradition and that passion. I hear it, I see it. So, I think one more question that's important to me, and probably a lot of my listeners as well, is so you mentioned nature, and I talk a lot about how Mother Nature really provides, and using herbalism and make doing homeopathy and being able to just take nature and put it back in people's pocket. So one thing that I always worry about, though, of course, is sustainability. And
Mm.
you mentioned that you guys still use in the Cook Islands the same ancestral harvesting methods. How is that sustainable, or like what are the practices to make sure
So,
that there isn't an impact
a-
there?
and this is the best question to date, because if we talk about the hibiscus tree, we're harvesting the bark, right? So when we
Yeah,
harvest the bark, which our locals still do by hand, there is
yeah,
zero machines that do our harvesting. Zero.
that's amazing.
Everything is done by hand. We only harvest a third of bark off any given tree, because then within 12 to 18 months, that bark is completely grown back.
Wow. So the tree itself doesn't. There's no like adverse effect. It just grows the bark back.
Correct. We don't cut trees down.
Oh my gosh,
We don't cut trees down. We
that's
don't
amazing.
believe in that. And the whole thing for us is
Wow.
the trees grow like weeds, to be totally honest. They
Yeah.
grow like weeds, and within the Cook
Yeah.
Islands, there's the main island in Rarotonga, but there's 13 to 15 islands that we have an abundance of
Yeah.
trees. We have an abundance of bark. And then that's why we only ever, ever, ever harvest a third of bark off that tree. And as I said before, the Kotanui, which are our traditional elders on each and every single island, they are in agreement that when we need more, they will go and harvest more. And
That's
when we need
amazing.
more, then we still do it sustainably. We are not cutting trees down. We're not going out and cutting this down to then have nothing left. Again, it's only a third of bark that goes off that tree. So as soon as our people back in the Cook Islands are harvesting, that gets sent back to our factory, which we have a factory there, which we have a thing called a mass spectrometer. Now,
Mm.
Cookie, during his studies, was able to get a grant from the United Nations Development Program where they funded the mass spectrometer, which I think was about $300,000 US. What that enables us to do is standardize every single batch exactly at the same time. We have some of the most leading technology within our lab in the Cook Islands because we've gone and invested in the best to make sure that the product is standardized, is safe and efficacious, because then when that product is then sent to our co-packer, which is in Florida, they're a GMP certified facility, that they have the highest standards of efficacy, process, manufacturing, QC. So we see every single stage of packing, vials being filled, everything's being dotted and ticked and double checked and checked again, each and every time. Because again, as custodians of the product of what we do at Tvati,
Yeah.
everything needs to be perfect. And
Yeah.
you're talking being harvested from one of the smallest Pacific islands there is. But we're sharing our traditional customs and our remedies with the world, one drop at a
With the
time,
world.
healing one drop at
Yeah.
a time.
Yeah. I have this I don't know if my screen is wide enough, so I'm going to just bring it up here for people to see, but I have this little, I don't know, plaque, picture, whatever. And oh, I can't see it because of
I can see it.
the light. But anyways, it says walk gently on the earth for she is our medicine. And I love that you consider yourself a custodian of Tvati because you're the caretaker, the protector, and being able to take that and bring it forth to the world is just such, I think, an honorable job because it's changing and saving lives. So that word
Thank
that
you.
you use, saying custodian, that really resonated with me.
I appreciate that because I'm a custodian, but what we're creating is legacy.
Yeah,
Because to be honest, Tavati's been approached by big farm, big companies, let's just say,
yeah, yeah,
and they've asked, do we want to be acquired or partnered? And we've respectively said no, but we've also said if you'd like further education, Sean would be happy to discuss with you. And like,
yeah.
these are doctors and surgeons and professors, and I get the
Yep,
privilege to be able to talk to these people because for me, just talking with you, Cara, it's a
yeah.
privilege because this is
Thank
what
you.
I'm here to do. This has been part of my journey, and my sons aren't here at the moment because if they were, we wouldn't. There'd be balls and crap flying everywhere. But if my son Tyson and my son Cash and my other son Ollie, if I was to ask them, or if anyone was to ask them about what Tvati is and what it does, they'd rip it off straight off the bat and say Tvati
Yeah,
is this, because I have a responsibility as a father and a dad to be able to educate my sons to then go and take on the legacy of what we're creating, because of what is in their blood, because in their blood is Polynesian culture, blood.
yeah,
It's in our culture, it's in the sharing, and it's in why we do this every single day and why I talk, because I go off in a million tangents, but I hope that what comes across is that it's authentic, it's being real, because it's why I'm head of HR, because I won't stand for bullshit, because if there's bullshit, I
good.
will call it out within 2 seconds. And again, I am unapologetic about people wanting to talk rubbish about us, because all we want to do is educate and share, because that's what we should be doing.
I agree. And I think you definitely come across. I feel the authenticity and I feel the connection, and I am 100% sure that my audience does as well. So thank you so much, because this was amazing. It was informative, and I am even more excited now than I was before we chatted to give this a try it in my own home, try it with my patients, and I think you'll have another raving customer writing and
Well,
calling you.
well,
So,
before we finish, and I'm really grateful for you, so thank you, Carl. Look,
yeah.
I want to announce, because since Super Zoo, to be honest, it's been an absolute whirlwind. But what I want to be able to share, and look, I'm booked to do that many podcasts, but I'm so chuffed that I'm doing it with you first. That Dr. Katie Kangas, who we met at Super Zoo, has come on board Tvati as the chief wellbeing veterinary officer. So
Oh
for
my
the likes
gosh.
of Tvati to be able to work with an amazing human being and her team, Jessica, etc., is a privilege again. But for Katie to use Tvati and then come back and say, "Hey, can we talk?"
Yeah.
We don't have this type of thing in America. I'm really keen to learn more, and it just organically turned out that now she's coming on board as an advocate, as the chief wellbeing veterinarian officer. So for me to announce this on your show, I'm absolutely chuffed.
Oh my God. That's amazing. I am super excited that I'm actually going to be connecting with her in a couple of weeks. We're going to talk about a
How
bit
good.
about homeopathy. And so that I love that so much, because I love Dr. Katie Kangas. She is very knowledgeable, she's very passionate, and she is definitely going to be an amazing addition to the Tvati family. So,
Oh,
for sure.
absolutely. She is. And again, hey, look, I'm so grateful for you and to follow up with us. And we might not have met there, but
Yeah,
hey, we're now sharing our story together.
we certainly are. Sean, thank you so much.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Please remember that you, yes, you, are the driving force that helps keep small businesses and platforms like mine running. So if you liked what you heard, please like, share, and most importantly, rate this podcast. It's the only way we can reach more people and spread the word about natural health. None of the conditions discussed or recommendations given are meant to replace the advice of your health provider. So if you have concerns about yourself or your pets, please confer with a human or animal health practitioner. Have a super fantastic day, and I'll see you next week.